Welcome to Lesson 1 of the OOP Beginner's Guide. Let's talk about why this paradigm even exists. Procedural code is fine until it isn't. Around 200 lines in, you're passing the same 5 dicts into every function, mutating them by accident, losing track of who owns what. That's the dict soup problem, and it's exactly where classes start earning their keep. So here's where we're headed. By the end of this lesson, you'll spot the dict soup pattern not just in legacy code, but in code you wrote last week. That's the harder catch. You'll know the 4 concrete wins classes give you: state binding, type safety, polymorphism, and composition. You'll know when to skip OOP entirely and stay functional. And you'll have a 5-question decision tree that turns this whole call into a 30-second judgment. Look at this. Day 1, you've got a clean dict and a tidy little add item function. 30 days later, calculate total takes 6 parameters, mutates 2 nested dicts, and applies a discount rule nobody can trace. And that's when the 4 pains hit. No invariance, so anything can assign cart items to none. No type safety, so a typo crashes at runtime instead of edit time. Hidden state, because you have to read all 20 functions to know who mutates what. And param explosion, add 1 field, update 20 callers. This is the wall procedural code, hits around 200 lines. Now, here's the payoff. Each of those 4 panes maps to one specific class property. State binding. The cart owns its items, so you call cart add item, not add cart item. Type safety. Attributes are typed, so cart.itmes lights up red before you even run it. Polymorphism, discount apply, works the same whether it's percentage or fixed, no if-elif chain. And composition, objects hold other objects, so cart.items.product price reads like the structure it is. 4 problems, 4 properties, no overlap. But flip it around. When none of those 4 panes exist, classes are noise. Pure transformation, just a function. Stateless utility like format currency, 1 line, 0 state. Wrapping it in a currency formatter class is Java cosplay. One-shot script, let main do its thing. And comprehensions are already functional code. You don't need a filter pipeline object to loop a list. No state, no behavior to bundle, no polymorphism, reach for def. So here's the shortcut. 5 questions, 30 seconds. Senior call. Does it carry state between calls? Are there invariants to protect? Will multiple types share the interface? Does it model a real domain entity? Will it grow over time? Count the yeses. 3 or more, you've got a class. 3 or more no's, it's a function. That's the reflex we're calibrating over the next 12 lessons. Let's pressure test it on 6 real cases. Shopping cart, state, invariance, a domain entity, 4 yeses, class. URL shortener with a database connection, 5 out of 5, class. Multiple payment methods sharing one interface, polymorphism, class. Now flip it. Celsius to Fahrenheit is a pure transform, 0 yeses, function. Email validation, 1 line, stateless, function. Finding duplicates, a set comprehension, no object needed. Same 5 questions, 6 clean calls. Once you've got the questions, layer on these 6 reflexes. Start procedural and let pain tell you when to refactor. Don't pre-architect. Nouns become classes, verbs stay functions. If your class is just init plus 1 method, it's a function wearing a costume. Reach for data class, path, and dict before rolling your own. Classes own state, functions transform values, and when in doubt, read how requests or fast API actually do it. Here's the whole decision toolkit on 1 page. 12 patterns. Pin it somewhere. Left column screams class. 5+ dicts moving together, a domain noun, invariance you need to enforce, state that persists. Right column screams function, a pure transform, a one-liner, a script you'll run once. And that middle row, class with init plus 1 method, that's a function in disguise. When you genuinely can't tell, start procedural and let the pain refactor you. Now 5 traps to dodge on the way in. Java cosplay, wrapping FizzBuzz in a FizzBuzz calculator just to feel object-oriented. Pre-architecting 5 abstract base classes before a single line of pain exists. God objects where cart secretly runs payments, email, and analytics. Inheritance reached for as code reuse when composition is what you actually want. And the namespace class, one instance, no state. That's just a module wearing a costume. Skip these, and you skip 6 months of refactoring. Time to make this stick. 3 exercises in order. First, audit a script you've actually written. Count the functions, count the dicts, and flag any trio of functions juggling the same state. That's your dict soup. Second, take 5 functions from any code base and run the 5-question tree on them. Score 2 or 3 is where the real judgment lives. Third, pick your worst offender and sketch the class. Noun, state, behaviors. No code yet. That skeleton is your starting point for Lesson 02. And that's the why locked in. You've got dict to soup, the 4 OOP wins when functions still win, and the decision tree, 4 tools you didn't have an hour ago. Lesson 02 is where we stop arguing and start building. The 5-line class shape, instances, attributes, the skeleton you'll write 1,000 times. See you there.